Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put the chairs a little bit more in front because I am really happy to introduce to you the following panelists. And I'm going to invite you on stage, dear lady and gentlemen. Hamed Sadeghian, CEO from Nearfield Instruments, please step forward. André van Troost, the CEO van Lely. Carolijn Hawinkels, Delta Diagnostics, the CEO. And Rinke Zonneveld, welcome, CEO from Invest NL. Please step forward and take a seat. And ladies and gentlemen, were you able to reply on the statements? I guess so, because apparently a lot of you did so. And the answers we will see in a moment. Good. Thank you so much for being here with us. I know, Carolijn, that you are here with us all day already, and the others just popped in right in time. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here this afternoon. Hamed, if Nearfield Instruments, it was declared one of the 50 most challenging companies, innovative, fast-growing, last year by MT Sprout, and the jury states that you do show established companies how things can be done different, faster, better, cheaper, more sustainable. Now, how do you do so?
Well, I feel
what is the answer there?
I don't think we do all of them because then it's too good to be true. I'm not going to give a sugar quote in front of one of my investors. But we try to think outside the box. And at the end of the day, it comes to being fast. The speed is extremely important. And try to look at it from a diversity point of view. Bringing the risk as soon as possible on the table. We are talking about complex systems, what we have today in this audience as well. So if it's going to fail, it has to fail soon. Yeah. So the team makes a difference at the end of the day. Yeah. To be able to bring it on the table, make fast decisions, bold and go. And I think that's it. And the rest is supporting that.
Yeah. Explain for the audience in just 2 words what you do. What is your uniqueness at Nearfield Instruments?
So if you look at today's semiconductor manufacturing chips, there is a huge waste because of the process. It's one of the most energy consumption. If I want to put numbers, the TSMC, as one company in Taiwan, uses 1/3 of the total electricity in Taiwan. About 1 to 5% of the total chips and wafers are being wasted because of the complexity, improving the yield, and so on and so forth. What we have brought and qualified now in the market is a technique, is a metrology equipment, a process control that is completely non-destructive and that reduces significantly the waste and contribute to the yield of production.
Wow. Carolijn Hawinkels, CEO from Delta Diagnostics. In what phase are you with Delta Diagnostics? Because when did it all start?
2018. So
2018.
Delta Diagnostics is a startup from TNO originally. Spent 5 years to make a prototype in our own laboratory. Got 5.25 million last year from investors. And now are on the brink of introducing our first instrument in the market by the end of June.
That will be done soon. Now, with how many people are you now at this very moment?
Was number 6 last summer, and we're 32 today.
Whoa. 6 last summer? You were
summer.
number 6?
Yep.
And now you're 32?
Yep.
So, you need some specific skills to manage all this, I can imagine.
The specific skill is finding these fun, smart people that want to work with us and our team today and are in the room today.
Yeah. André van Troost, Lely. We know Lely?
Great.
I guess so. I guess most of the people know. Tell us, are you a player? We cannot go around. We do all need Lely worldwide, would you say?
Everyone needs Lely worldwide?
Yes, in your sector.
If you need a
with
milking robot in your garden, yes, you certainly
yes,
do. Yeah.
then we should need it. No, in the industry, what
No,
would you say?
I guess all people who still enjoy dairy, and there are fewer and fewer, they certainly need a player like Lely to ensure that the milk is coming from the cow in a sustainable and ethical manner. So we produce robots for the agricultural sector and specifically for dairy farming. So, yes.
For dairy farmer. Now, what would you say is the technology you are most proud of you do offer to your customers at Lely?
The totally autonomous way of being able to be a farmer. So the big challenge in the industry is that fewer and fewer people want to work in agriculture. So the farmers really struggle to find people to work for them. But at the same time, we need to produce 50% more food in 2050. So, fewer people who want to work in the industry, and we need to produce more food. And we need to do so with less land, less water, fewer animals. So automation, innovation, robotization is really probably one of the only way to be able to face that challenge.
To face it, so you come up with that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Rinke, we started early this morning with board member Mark Hendriksen, among others, and he stated the importance of control points, of making sure that within the domains we have defined within NXTGEN Hightech, that we are able to, by collaboration and by focusing, that we will be able to build on control points. Now, how, from your perspective, from InvestNL, would you look at this?
If Mark says so, he's right.
He is right.
Yeah.
You do not dare to argue.
And not only because he's the chairman of NXTGEN Hightech, but I think he's absolutely right. And I see this as a broader question. And the last couple of weeks, there's a lot to do about the business climate here in the Netherlands, about the investment climate. And I think we're in a transition of times, not in a time of transition, but in a transition of times. And we really have to redefine our economic model here in the Netherlands, but also in Europe. And that has to do with, for one example, the geopolitical power struggle between China and the US, which is all about access to technology, access to critical raw materials. But it also has to do with the fact that our current economic model here in the Netherlands is primarily based on cheap natural gas from Groningen. And it means that the way we looked at our industry and the way we looked at what is being done by the market and what should be done by the public sector should be really redefined. And it means that we have to come up with a new industrial policy, in my strong opinion. And I see a lot of European countries moving much faster than the Netherlands does. Yeah. Like I said on several occasions, the rest of Europe is becoming even more French than the French are. Yeah. And we are still lacking behind. A lot of people still think that leave it to the market and everything will be solved. And I don't think that's true.
What is at stake here?
Our future prosperity for my children, my grandchildren. And maybe that sounds like a gloomy picture, but I think we have still everything in place. We have really high quality academic knowledge, 2 of the spin-offs here, and I'm proud to be a shareholder in one and the first investor in the other one in my previous job. That lead to extremely promising new companies. Yeah. But we still have access to the right talent. But oh my, with what's happening currently in politics, that is...
If that would be not the case anymore.
And at the same time, there is... we have to deal with permanent scarcity. Scarcity of space, scarcity... Resources, and amongst talent is one of them. So we really have to come up with a better answer than we all together. And it's not only about politicians, but we all together are giving today.
Well, then the program NXTGEN Hightech is already a great start in the answer, building the ecosystems around technologies.
Absolutely.
And domains.
It's one of the building blocks, but it's just one of the building blocks.
Yeah, but an important one. Let us dive into the statements set up by the organization, and then I would like to have your opinion, but also we asked the audience, so we can maybe ask to set the first, that was the large corporations, not startups, are the real drivers of meaningful innovation due to their resources and market reach. Now, for sure you have an opinion on this one. Now, this is on a scale from 0 to 5, which means that there are quite some people, they strongly agree. Well, more people say they disagree, but still there are quite some people who do agree. Now, I would like to start with you, André. What would you say here? Large corporations, not startups, are the real drivers because you, like Lely, have resources, have market reach.
We do, yeah. I'm somewhere in the middle as well, actually. I believe we need both, to be honest, which is a bit of a cliche, I realize that. But, you know, working with startups, as Lely, we work very closely with many startups, and they help us to move faster, to be more agile, to come up with really new ideas that we never thought of. Yeah. But for them to bring it to the market and to commercialize it, we really see that they need our help as well. So I haven't seen that many startups yet who've gone all the way by themselves without any external help and making it a success.
How come that you as a large company are not able to do this, the work startups do?
That's a good question. I believe it is because at our company we are so close to our customers that we tend to innovate what our customers are asking for. And really, to me, true innovation, you're way beyond what your customer is asking for. You are way in front of that. Yeah. But our engineers, they visit farms every day, and every day the farmer tells them, I need this and this and this. Well, really, I see in startups, they are way ahead of that. They think much further ahead, and that helps us to be more.
So if you are in the day-to-day business with your engineers, it's more that improving the current and the actual systems, but it's not, you do not have enough distance, maybe too.
Well, we have distance, but maybe many startups have a little bit more distance because they don't talk to our customers every day. It's as simple as that. So,
yeah. So it's so you do agree with this 2.3
Yeah,
or 2.5?
I mean, even Bas, I love the story of Fairphone. I thought it was a great story, but at some stage he said, and then I went to KPN, and I needed them to order large numbers. Well, to me, that is a meeting exactly in the middle, because without them, he may not have got through. So I think that's an example of being in the middle. So that's me personally. Anyway.
Hamed, what would you say?
It really depends. Case to case is different. It depends on your position in the market or perceived position in the market. There is no single number or whether it's agree or not. You need the industry, the large industry. You also need the startups, but the critical role here is about the scale up. I would bring two examples which is extreme. One, when you have the opportunity and uniqueness to become at a certain moment in time the single source supplier to that market. That's a completely different story. That you become one, you are competing, and then you also need larger organizations, larger companies to actually help you with market reach, sales, service, and so on and so forth. The impact that a single source, a scale-up can have in mid-term and long-term is significantly higher than the marginal process-oriented optimization of the large industry. Yeah. So the focus here and choice makes a big difference.
Okay, great. Carolijn, what would you say? You disagree partly?
I've been part of big corporate, and I'm in a startup now, and I think the entire heartbeat is completely different. Also because whenever you go into a bigger organization, you deal with much more people. So the vibe of bigger groups of people is different. You need more structure, you need more procedures. There is a certain predictability in a bigger corporation that you do not have in a startup. If we are with 32, there's much that goes on that I don't know or half aware of, and I'm completely fine with that because the people that were hired are smart and they are autonomous and they will bring the product forward. Which is something that I cannot do if I would be the CEO of a bigger company. I need to make sure that things go in a certain way. So it has a completely different vibe. And do we need bigger companies with more money in the end? For certain. But I'm very glad that we don't have them on board right now.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yet.
Correct.
Yet. That's what André is adding
What's the
to
answer?
this.
I didn't get that. So what is your answer?
Then I'm very glad that we don't have them yet.
Okay.
Because right now the sandbox is ours. And we can innovate in a way that we couldn't.
But where would you be here on this scale to the answer to this question? Would you strongly disagree or strongly agree?
Personally, I'm a black and white person, so I would be far on the left.
Good. Rinke, from an investment point of view?
Well, first of all large corporations were a startup one day. And so if we talk about rejuvenating your economy, then if you look what were the 10 largest companies 20 years ago, it's totally different from nowadays.
What it is now. Yeah.
So, but I think it's not and or. It's you know, I think that large corporations, they are really important for innovation, but without the startups, as the annoying mosquito in the room, like Bas said, most of them wouldn't innovate as much as they do nowadays. Yeah. So it's a combination of the speedboats and the non-fossil oil tanker that the large corporations are.
Yeah, okay, so they're both needed.
But of course, if you would wake me up in the middle of the night and say, okay, who are the main source of innovation in the Netherlands? I would be with Carolijn on the left side.
Yeah. And when they come for funding?
Well, we don't fund large corporations, so we're always on the lookout for
start and scale.
Yes, especially scale-ups. Yeah. You know, we have, I think, a huge batch of startups in the Netherlands, but we have a scaling problem. Yeah. So we need more startups that really scale fast. We need more startups that fail fast. We have too many startups that are somewhere in between, stuck in between.
A bit like what you stated, Hamed, in the why are you good? Because you're fast in your risks and you know whether it's a go or a no-go. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said that MT Sprout said that Nearfield Instruments was one of the top 50 rising stars in the Netherlands. I'm quite sure they're in the top 10 of these 50.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, even better, Hamed.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. Now, let's see the second one. Business models that heavily integrate social and environmental goals are inherently less profitable and sustainable in the long run. Completely disagree, but people do also agree. Now, let's say, Carolijn, where are you here on this scale from 0 to 5? Heavily integrating social and environmental goals in the long run.
But the funny thing, it is framed as inherently less profitable being a bad thing. Which I don't believe in. So I would be on the left because
because profit is not your key concern.
Obviously, it's a company, so we need to have some profit. But the search for ever more profit, enough profit is enough, huh?
Yeah. Wow, Hamed.
Enough is enough.
You agree?
Completely disagree.
You completely disagree. What, with Carolijn?
It would not be a discussion otherwise.
With Carolijn or with the statement?
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
It's a pity.
Would it be good to have a good discussion?
It's good for the discussion here
for
on
the
stage,
discussion, it is a pity. But you completely disagree.
Yes.
You completely disagree. So you say, no, we must heavily integrate on these goals if in the long run we want to be profitable.
I mean, they are not mutually exclusive the way that I see it. It comes to the innovation in your business model. It's very easy to say, yes, profits is against the sustainability and making an impact. The real challenge and the beauty of innovation in the business model is how you optimize for both of them.
Yeah.
And those that are towards the right, I think, lack the vision and innovations towards optimizing both of them.
Now, how does this relate to the global playing field companies are in, like yourself? Because this is what we can maybe think of as our set of values as well, that we say this is the way we want to operate, this is our license to operate as well, that we have that integration of social and environmental goals. That's not always and everywhere the case in the world, maybe. Or would you say it's everywhere the same?
I cannot say everywhere is the same. I can only talk about the area that is my expertise. So for the rest, I cannot. When it comes to semiconductor industry, microelectronic, it is not green. Sustainability is not the top in the agenda. However, if you look at the price of the chips and the amount of chips that are needed, the moment that we brought up the proposition that we want to avoid waste, we bring a solution that we avoid waste, directly translated to a lower cost of ownership for customers, where we were able to increase our margins, profitability, while the main reason was waste reduction, optimizing both of them.
Yeah. Okay. André, where do you stand here?
Yeah, I completely disagree, or strongly disagree, if you can walk the talk. So if you can identify, indeed, sustainability issues within your business, and you are able to deal with them and to even fix them. I mean, look at our own industry, the dairy industry, you know.
Yeah.
We read every day about the challenges that we have there, whether it's emissions, biodiversity, water scarce water solutions, you know, animal health. It's up to Lely to come up with solutions to tackle those issues. So if we can do that, then I strongly disagree. But before, I worked for a large corporate as well, I won't mention the name, but there they tried to make their existing brands sound more and more sustainable. They didn't actually change anything about the products and the brand, but they tried to, I wouldn't say greenwashing, but they tried to make their existing products sound more environmentally and socially sustainable. If you do that, if you can only do that, then I think you will struggle to become profitable. However, you can walk the talk and you can actually invent and come up with solutions to tackle sustainability issues like Fairphone, then I strongly disagree. So,
Yes. Yeah. So you must be able to walk the talk.
And
now,
not just talk the talk, yeah.
What would you say in the public debate at this very moment? Are companies still able to, you mentioned, like, you did not want to call it really greenwashing, but that's something which is maybe then behind. Are you still able in these days, in the global world we live in, and the way we communicate and the transparency we do have and the NGOs wandering around everywhere, greenwashing, is it getting less or is it getting more in the industry? What would you say? Because, of course, it's very political correct, of course, as well to say, of course, we disagree, of course. Yeah. But then...
I think it's getting less because you can't get away with it anymore. There are so many stakeholders looking at you now that if you don't actually do what you say, then you will be caught out very, very quickly. Whilst 15, 20 years ago, you know, you could still have a good story, but not necessarily take much action. So I think it's less, indeed.
Yeah. What would you say, Rinke? And also, when it comes to investment, no, but also for the scale-ups you are very much working with. This is also a very important pillar. I can imagine you judge and you try to get hold of.
Yeah, for us as an investor, this is what we look at. So what's your impact? Environmental impact, social impact. But it's also not because that's not a political belief, but it's a belief because we think that these kind of companies have the best future. That doesn't mean that they all are more profitable than the old-fashioned companies nowadays. And if you're, for example, in a circular industry and you have to compete with virgin resources that are really, really cheap at the moment, for example, in the plastic recycling sector, then it's really hard to come up with a profitable business model. But this is also a question about license to operate. And of course, you see some of the large corporations struggling with short-term shareholder capitalism. Look at what's happening at some of the big oil companies worldwide. But in the long run, all capital also will be directed to companies that are more social and more environmental. I'm quite sure.
Yes, it is at the end the license to operate wherever.
Yeah, and it's also about, if you talk about, there's not much talent anymore that comes out of university that wants to work for a company where they have to excuse themselves for.
Yeah, yeah. Is that something you feel as well at Nearfield, the talent you are able to attract, that they really pay attention to this?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
That they do question you as well as an employer?
This generation is different. They pay way more attention to these aspects when they select their career path, the company, how you handle, social and environmental manners, what is really the philosophy behind the company, what is your mission.
Yeah.
That has a big impact.
Yeah.
And also employer branding to be able to position yourself in this tight market. Absolutely.
So you're challenged by your newcomers,
Yes,
the,
correct. And we
young
like that.
talents.
Yes.
The same with Delta, I can imagine. Yeah.
Very sure.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Simone, who in the audience voted a 4 or a 5 on this statement?
Do you want names and numbers?
But-
What is it you want?
but-
I wanted
but,
to keep it
you know,
discreet.
no, but we all agree. And I think you have a better discussion if you have people in the audience who challenge what we all agree upon.
Which is completely true, Rinke. So we can give it a shot. I don't know if anybody said 5 and is willing to give his arguments. Ooh, light is turned on. Makes it even worse. Oh, you were one of those? Yeah. No. Yes, can I have a microphone?
Sorry for disrupting.
No, this is fun.
That's a disruption.
This is very good, Rinke. It's a good So you will have a microphone and then tell us who you are. Yeah. Oh, well, yes, why not step on stage? Yes. It's on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Well, so I'm Victor. My company is Photosynthetic. We are in the manufacturing space for the micro manufacturing space. Why I voted for is because I had the thing is, I don't think it's inherently less profitable to embrace social and environmental goals, but I think it's important to keep in mind that you're doing it because the demand is for those things. But when the demand is not for sustainability, and there's companies that go down that route regardless, then they may be overshooting their shot and shooting themselves in the foot and then failing.
So it's
that's
only
why I
because
disagreed, and I don't think it's always the case, and that's why I voted for it.
Okay, so then you in fact state that it's not intrinsic that they are motivated to do so, but because of the demand. That's why people,
Yes, and
entrepreneurs.
and perhaps you can anticipate that. Sorry if I'm speaking too loudly. Perhaps you can anticipate that, and I think the companies who do and say, okay, well, in 5, 10 years, this is what the demand will be, then great. But it may be, I think there are companies, and I've seen companies out there that have implemented these because they believe that will be the case, or that will be the demand, but actually they've got it completely wrong. Trying to think of some examples, but I think in the US, you have some, like Budweiser, for example, who are trying to embrace this, and then now the sale of Bud Light has plummeted, and it's been a big loss for that company. So that's why I think it's not always the case.
Victor, thank you for being so brave
You're
to
welcome.
step here in the light.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great. Thank you. Now, please, comment on this, maybe. Because of the demand, Victor states. Hamed, what would you say to Victor?
I see the point. No, I see the point. By the way, you challenged that, but I will take that. Yes, indeed. We should distinguish between how to optimize these two angles and being naive in the business proposition. What you meant by shooting your foot is being naive of what is feasible, the lack of self-criticism. Like, okay, can you run a business if you only consider, or towards maybe investors, DSR sugar-coated to meet some of these demands? So yes, it starts with having a strong propositions, a strong customer pool, a market pool, where you can optimize and make sure that these social and environmental impact are part of your business model. And this optimization is not simple, but this is what we have to do.
Yeah, it's a constant search
Yes.
for the balance. André, can you add something to this, into what Victor said? It's due to the demand.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the statement. It's due to the demand. What is meant by that? Due to the demand,
What customers...
what customers want, we produce.
Yeah, and what you
Right.
foresee for the upcoming years, what they
Yeah.
might ask. And if not...
Well, that's an interesting one. Actually, I can take my own industry. The consumption of dairy is growing 2% every year, whereas the Dutch farmers Many people want them out because we think there'll be less cows, so we'll have less environmental issues. But actually, demand is growing 2% per year. So what is happening is the dairy herds are just moving somewhere else, to China, to Japan, to the USA. That's what we're seeing. So that puts me in a difficult position. Am I going to answer the demand and keep building robots to keep producing 2% more dairy per year? Or am I going to stay a little bit closer to home and try and build innovations to tackle methane problems, ammonia, stickstoff problems? And we're now choosing the latter. So we are not putting all our efforts in developing an even faster milking robot because demand is growing, but we're actually choosing now to innovate to tackle the problems that the dairy industry brings with it.
Yeah.
And that's, if you ask me why, I think we can do it because we are a family company. We think long term.
Yeah.
And my only job as a CEO is to be able to hand over the company to the next generation. And I believe if I keep continuing faster milking robots, in 20 years' time, I may not be able to hand over a company to the next generation. So I choose to tackle the problems within the industry. Sorry, that's a long answer, but
No, it's a very clear
It's an
answer, and
interesting
it's spot on, I would say. Thank you very much. Yeah. Time-wise, we go to the last one, the third one. That's about innovation is the dominant factor when building a competitive advantage and leading businesses to a control point in the value chain. Most of people do strongly agree, or at least agree heavily with this one. And again, it's very attractive to first see who strongly disagrees, Rinke, doesn't it? Shall we jump into the audience right away, maybe? Why not? No, but first, short from here. Because NXTGEN Hightech is very much about trying, by cooperation, by focusing, trying to have control points in the Dutch high-tech industry. Now, that's all. What would you say for you? Do you have a control point yet, would you say? Or are you near that you think, well, people will need me in the chain and I will be able to make up decisions within the value chain to whom I will deliver, yes or no? What would you say from Nearfield? Are we near?
So I will go back to the definition of innovations. The innovation, it's only completed when you're close to the market. Only then you can say innovations has happened. And yes, when you close it to the market and you position and you have the control point, then yes, I agree, because that's leading the business. You can have indicators whether you are close or at the control point, and often the most important one is customer, your market. That is the proof, final proof. How your peers in the industry react or act towards your proposition or innovation also tells a lot. Sometimes to have that control point and be bold and fast, you cannot wait to have the full confirmation of the market and the recurring one. You need to be enough savvy to be just before that point to realize that and go bold. And this becomes then the winner, because you acted right on time.
Super interesting this. André, what would you say about this one?
You're asking me now, and now I would, it is a dominant factor. I would strongly agree, but 20 years ago, I started one of my first jobs as a marketeer at Procter & Gamble, and I was brainwashed that you could put the word marketing there instead of innovation. So it depends what company you work in, but I'm now convinced that innovation indeed is the dominant factor and not marketing or sales. But it depends what vision the company has, I guess. But no, innovation, innovate or die, I now believe, absolutely.
But if I add something, innovation is, we often associate it with technology. It's not only that. You can be innovative in your marketing, and that makes a big difference in your business model. So it has different dimensions, and we often choose only one.
But it has to do with,
Yeah,
technology,
unfortunately, my
manufacturing.
18-year-old nephew is doing Erasmus University now, a marketing course, and he showed me some of his books, and his most important book was A.G. Leffley, The Principles of Marketing, which I did 30 years ago. So
About innovation.
Talking about innovativity. Yeah.
There's a little bit of speed needed there, I believe.
Carolijn, where are you here?
The funny thing is, nobody wants to be mediocre. Friedman wrote a book about the world is flat and said, you either need to be the cheapest, the best, or the one with the best customer intimacy and doing things in a really remarkable way. So innovation is also not only technology-wise, but also in your leadership style, in the way that you have and assemble a team, in the way that you approach your marketing and sales, in everything. So if you want to be something remarkable, then you need to do it differently.
For you, that's a fundamental principle, that of course you want to be
the
best in whatever you're doing.
It's no fun doing it any other way.
Yeah. Oh, wow, great. Maybe still, is there somebody who strongly disagreed and wants to give some words to that? Or do you say, just leave me just by myself? Because there are some people who really strongly disagreed that this is the dominant factor when building competitive advantage. Victor, you no? No, okay.
Come on stage.
It was a child's, yes.
They might have changed our minds, giving our
yes,
arguments.
maybe after having heard these experts here in the panel, that could have changed the case, yes. Okay, time-wise, we will have to change. Maybe a final word. This is more for the entrepreneurs than for you, maybe, Rinke.
If I can add one thing, innovation itself won't lead to a control point. It's not innovation in splendid isolation. And I think, and maybe that's a good concluding remark, it's about innovation in collaboration. So setting up public-private partnerships, setting up partnerships between academia and industry, setting up partnerships within your value chain. So it's not within splendid isolation.
Yeah. Well, look here, nobody here is in splendid isolation. Yes, it's all about collaboration here today and focus. Well, thank you so very much. I have the impression we could have talked some
hours
longer, but this is what it is for today. And thank you very much for having taken the opportunity to be here with us. Thank you. Give them a warm hand of applause. André, Carolijn, Hamet, and Rinke. Thank you very much.